Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another one. So, as many of you probably already know, I'm getting ready for tuning on my E90 and anyway, so it's a good time to look over like common problems with the car, look for things like that because well, tuning your car is not really going to cause anything to break unless the tuner just doesn't know what they're doing, but BPC is a reputable shop. They have many people have tuned their cars there, so I'm not worried about anything like that, but tuning can sometimes cause things that are already on their way out. It can kind of accelerate their decline. So we're going to look at common issues with the car, and some of these won't be related to the engine just because I kind of thought it'd be stupid to make two videos about common problems with the E90 and more particularly the N52, although some of these problems will be across all E90 cars essentially. So yeah, let's get right into it. So yeah, let's start with the ones that are not engine related. It's not particularly hot today, but I bet it's too hot to sit in here without the car running and the doors closed. Okay, so first thing that tends to happen with these E90s, and this just seems to be like an issue with BMWs, and I don't know if you can see on the lens here very well or not. I'm trying to, but the window tint gets, yeah, there, right there, you can see it. The window tints get really scratched up, and my understanding is that when it gets hot, there's like a felt lining on a dirt trap in there, and the felt will come off, and then the plastic will scratch it up real bad where the dirt gets caught. And BMW Fanatic has a video about how to fix this. It's not exactly a true DIY, but he explains it and kind of goes into what you need to do. I haven't done it yet on my car because these tints are already ruined. They're just the ones that came on it. And when I tint the car later in the future, I'll go ahead and do a DIY on that and how to do it like in depth. But for now, check out BMW Fanatic's video if you're thinking about tinting your E90. This is probably holds true against all E90 cars. And my friend had a E36 328, and it had the same issue. So I'm pretty sure it's just a common issue with BMWs in general, not even just the E90. Another thing, I haven't had this problem, but the blower for the AC and heat has a tendency to go out. I think it's more towards the earlier models, like the pre-LCIs, 06, 07, maybe 08 too. Another one too, it hasn't happened to mine, and I think it's also the earlier production models, is the sensor underneath the passenger seat that does the airbag has a tendency to crack and break, and that'll just put on your airbag and seatbelt light. And the reason that they have that set up is just because, so if there's no one in the passenger seat, the airbag won't deploy, they can save money. But I think in 2006 when the E90 first came out, it was new technology then. Now I think it's pretty standard on even like basic cars. Yeah, right, that's all I can really think about on the interior. I've heard also that the window regulators and the door regulators that do the electronic locks and stuff can go out, but I don't know if that, I've never known anyone to have that happen, and I know quite a few people who have E90s. So now the stuff that you really want to look at if you're considering buying an E90 or if you're considering tuning like I am. So one thing is the oil filter housing can leak. So right around here, this is your housing. So right around here you would see oil leaking if it was leaking externally. And as you can see, there's not really anything leaking here. It's all, it's just normal engine soot. And I don't know why it's a little bit stained right there, but it's no oil buildup or anything. And I'm not losing any oil. And if it's not leaking on the outside, it can also leak under the inside, and it can get mixed into your radiator. So another way to check that is to undo your radiator cap. And you would look down in there, and I'm not really sure if you can see it on the camera, but just deep down in there you can see, oh, I'm not even lined up. Yeah, right, I think you can see, yeah, you can see a little OEM blue in there, and this is just the overflow container, and it would kind of have like a chocolate milk kind of texture to it if it was leaking onto the inside. So that's a check there. We don't have to worry about any oil leaking from the oil filter housing. Then the infamous valve cover gasket leak. So your valve gasket is essentially, it goes like right around the bottom of this engine cover, and the reason that this happens to pretty much all BMWs at some point in their life, and you can kind of see it down there, and there's no real oil buildup or anything, so it's once again good there. But the reason that this happens on them is because the engines are kind of mounted at a slant, and so I guess the oil just kind of piles up there, and so eventually the gasket gives and leaks, and that's just a common problem across all BMWs for pretty much their production. Long time issue. And also another thing is it can leak into the engine instead, so you wouldn't see any external leaking where I was just showing you, but you would wind up getting misfires from having oil in your cylinders, and I'm not having that issue, so not too worried about that. Those are some common issues under the hood. Let's see what else. One more common issue is the oil pan gasket can have a tendency to leak, and that's under the engine, so to see that you would have to jack the car up and remove the plastic on the bottom. But like I said, I'm not losing any oil, and I haven't been since I got the car, so I'm not particularly worried about it. So another thing is that BMWs have a tendency to blow through some coil packs, and this is particularly prevalent on the N54. You hear stories about people tuning their N54 and within an hour having a blown coil pack. And that's just because the coil packs are already kind of going bad and the tune accelerates it. So the problem doesn't seem to be as bad on the N52, but nevertheless, it is still there. So it's it's underneath here, so it's kind of a pain to get to. This has to come off, then you do that. And I'm going to be changing all my coil packs and spark plugs, and you should do your spark plugs while you're in there just because it's in the exact same place, and it really doesn't make any sense to take all this stuff off twice to do the same job twice essentially. So spark plugs and coil packs are a big thing, and if you're thinking about tuning your car, you should definitely go ahead and change those. One last common issue is the Vanos system. So the solenoids can go bad, and I've done a video on it. Let's see if I can get a good angle on them. So right in here there's two solenoids, number 1, number 2, and they can go bad. Sometimes they're just dirty, so I had codes for both of them, and I didn't have any check engine or anything like that, but when I ran diagnostics found them, so I removed them both and cleaned them. And for a while it was good. The intake one still hasn't come back. I think that was just dirty, but the exhaust one just came back. So I'm actually going to replace the solenoid, but I'm not going to make a video on that because it's exactly the same as cleaning it. So if you want to know how to replace your Vanos solenoid, just check out the video on cleaning it, because it's the exact same procedure, except you would just remove the old one and discard it and put the new one in instead of cleaning it and putting in the old one. Hey guys, so as I was editing this video, I realized that I forgot one thing, and another common issue is the water pump and thermostat, and they seem to go out together from what I can gather. Now, I haven't had this issue since owning the car. It does seem to happen between 60 and 80,000 miles, and hopefully the previous owner dealt with that, because I got this car at right at 80,000 miles, 78 something, and I really don't want to have to deal with that one. But the car that I have, it was dealer maintained its entire life up until I got it. So yeah guys, those are some common issues and things that happen on the N52 and E90s, but most particularly to the N52. And if you're thinking about buying one of these, those are things you should look at, and if you're thinking about tuning it, you should definitely check those out, because if you tune your car and there are issues with it, then it's just going to accelerate the problems and you're going to have some issues. So you want to be in like tip-top shape before you go with tunes and things like that. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.